Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our inaugural Dallas Stars franchise mode here in NHL 20. So in last episode, we made a trade early into the year in December, acquiring Dave Babbage from the Vancouver Canucks. And yeah, that actually helped us out in a bit, and our defense played the best in the entire league, and we managed to make the playoffs with the second best record in the NHL. As you can see, we finished 48, 22, 10, and 2, and we're going to be going up against the Russian Cosmonauts in the first round, who went 40, 35, 5, and 2, and they're 7 and 3 in our last 10, so they've been playing some pretty good hockey. Let's take a quick look at the playoff tree for this year as well, because I didn't think I went through it in the last episode. So Detroit's going to be facing Chicago, us versus Russia, Calgary and Vancouver, so that one should be pretty interesting. LA and St. Louis. And then in the East, you got Quebec and Pittsburgh. So Quebec actually still made it, even though they've been making quite a bit of trades. You also got Montreal and Buffalo, New York and New Jersey, and Philadelphia and Boston. So it should be a pretty good Stanley Cup playoff simulation. Detroit's looking to win their third straight. So also, before we get started, let's do a bit of a team comparison. So we already went over their lines in last episode. If you didn't check that out, go watch near the end and you'll see their lineup. But let's do a statistical comparison. So we both, I think, are in... No, they're in a different division. So we finished first in our division, as you can see, with 106 points. Well, they finished in... They're in the West, I think, right? Yeah, they finished in the last seed with 40 wins, only 85 points. So we finished 21 points above them. So that's a pretty big difference. In terms of their goals for, they had 227 or 2.77. We had 3.4, so we really outscored them. So their offense is nowhere near as good. Our goals against was 212, which was the best in the league, so ours should be better as well, I'm pretty sure. And Russia was not that great defensively either, so I don't know how they got into the playoffs, because as you can see, they let in almost 30-something more goals than they scored, so that's not good. Their power play clicked at 13.4%. Our power play was at 20.2, so once again, we beat them there. And then also, the penalty kill is 77.7 for them, and for us 84.4. So we should be technically able to beat these guys, but I feel like since we had like pretty much the perfect season, that we're going to be ousted easily in the first round. So hopefully that is not the case though. Let's actually take a quick look at this thing with Russia. So that's all their team strategies. Their coach is Mr. Hebert. They also have Dufresne, Byers, and Chevry. Line strategies. There's their forward core in case you guys didn't see it in the last episode and you still wanted to look. Here's their like prospect pool and all that stuff as well, and their top players. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so let's get into this simulation and see if we could win our first ever playoff series, because this is the first time Dallas has been in the playoffs. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to beat Russia just because of the fact that they've been doing really good as of lately. And then they're also a team that shouldn't be able to move on, but they probably will somehow. So let's see how this plays out. So game number 1, we are at the Reunion Arena in Dallas. Let's see if we could get a good start here. So first period, and it is scoreless. So a good first defensive period. So we had the best defensive team in the regular season, despite having some multiple injury problems to our goaltending. So I'm really impressed with how it's been so far this year, and it continues so far in that first period. Shots are 10-6 in favor of us. Second period, and it is 2-0 us. Nice. So Scott Young and Brent Gilchrist come through. So Scott Young was a trade acquisition a few years back, and Brent Gilchrist has been with us since year number 1, so that's nice to see him come through. Shots are 23-18 in favor of your Dallas Stars. Let's see what happens here in the third period. See if we could just lock this game down. I'm not used to this simulation speed because I was literally playing 2K the other day, so I have to get used to the controls all over again. So Evason makes it 3-0 for us, so that means our third line has came through for, I think, 2 goals, and then our fourth line for 1, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what line Scott Young is on. And Yanni Ojinen, the former Finn, breaks the shutout for Darcy Wakaluk, but we win 3-1. So Darcy Wakaluk is being our starter, it looks like, for the playoffs, and Andy Moog is going to be our backup. So Scott Young from Neil Broughton and Dave Babbage, so it's nice to see Babbage get an assist. Brent Gilchrist from Matt Tkachuk and Pearson, and Evason from Lundell and Hatcher. So Anton Lundell's having a really good rookie season. I didn't actually show you guys the rookie points in last episode, but he is the rookie of the year based on points. So he's going to win the Calder, and he's up to a point per game in the playoffs so far. And Darcy Wakaluk gets first star with a .960 save percentage, Gilchrist the second star, and Evason the third. So pretty good first game. Hopefully we can continue that into game number 2, and then also when we shift over the series into Russia. Okay. So let's continue playing that good defensive hockey that we are used to. As you can see, for the last 4 games at least, we've been really good defensively, and we've been really good actually in the last month in general. We've been pretty good for getting points and winning games. So let's see if we could take a 2-0 series lead here on home ice. Come on, boys. Who wants to be the hero? First period of game 2, and it's scoreless just like game number 1. Shots are 13-6 though this time in favor of Russia, so Russia's getting more of the opportunities. We need to start getting better chances if we can. Second period, and it's 1-1, so Maxim Galanov, a defenseman, scores to make it 1-0 for Russia. But then Scott Pearson, who we signed in free agency, he also scores, and it's a 1-1 game. So it's shots are 21-16 in favor of Russia, but it is a tie game, so Darcy Wakaluk's having another good game. So let's go to 8-time simulation and get down this third period. See if we could take the lead here. Come on, boys. Mike Modano hasn't scored a goal yet, so hopefully he can come through soon. Power play, we don't score on it. But Scott Pearson again, wow. Scott Pearson's not much of a goal scorer, but he comes through with 2 goals in this game. I think he's on our 4th line as well. And we're going to win this one 2-1 as well. So Darcy Wakaluk having a very good start to this playoffs. Hopefully he can continue that on the road. Because our offense has scored 5 goals in 2 games, which is not necessarily the greatest, but we've only allowed 2 goals in 2 games. So Scott Pearson from Brent Gilchrist, and Scott Pearson from Lundell and Matt Tkachuk. 3 stars in that game: Pearson the first star, Wakaluk the second star, and Brent Gilchrist the third. Okay, nice start to the playoffs. I'm liking that. Hopefully we can continue this. So now I think we head to the CSK Ice Palace, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what I named the arena in Russia. Let's just take a quick look because I can't remember. Yeah, it's a CSK Ice Palace. I don't know if that existed back in those days, but I didn't have any other name for a Russian arena back in those days. So, because there's very little information for Russia's hockey league back in the 1990s. So, yeah, let's go with game number 3 as we shift the series to Russia. See if we could take a 3-0 series lead. First period, and it's scoreless again. So for the first 3 games of the series, nobody has scored in the first period. So that's kind of interesting. I guess both goalies are good first period goaltenders. Shots are 11-7 in favor of us. Second period, and we have a 3-1 series lead, or not series lead, game lead. And it's all our third line and our fourth line. It's not been our top line at all, which is really weird because our top line got us through the season, but the rest of the line seem to be clicking now. So Scott Pearson scores, Evason scores, and Evason scores again. And then Alexander Korolyuk breaks Wakaluk shutout to make it a 3-1 game. Shots are 24-17 in favor of us, so I'm liking that our depth is showing up, but I need our top line to start scoring as well because Mike Modano should be one of those guys that score every game. There's a goal from our top line, Russ Courtnall. Can we get Mike Modano a goal too, please? And Russia scores to make it a 4-2 game, so this is their first game with 2 goals on Wakaluk. And it's Andrei Nikolishin. And we are going to take a 3-0 series lead, so surprisingly, we're not actually getting swept. Because, I literally thought we were going to get swept because how perfect our season was so far, but I guess not. So Scott Pearson with his third of the playoffs in third in 2 games from Brent Gilchrist and Paul Cavallini, Evason from Gagne and Lundell, Evason from Gagne and Matvichuk, and Courtnall from Medano and Matvichuk. So Medano getting an assist in that game, but yeah, he hasn't scored yet in the playoffs. So Evason first star, Korolyuk to second star because he also has 5 hits with his 1 goal, and Dave Gagne to third star with 2 assists and 4 hits. Okay, so it's been a really good playoff so far. We're up 3-0 on the series. We've been outscoring the opponent by a score of 9-4, I think it is. So we've been playing pretty good. Let's see if we could end the series with a sweep. That would be a nice way to win our first playoff series with a 4-0 sweep. So first period, and it's 2-0 Russia. Not good. That's our worst first period yet because mostly it's been no goals in the first period, but this is the first time some team has scored in the first period. So the Cosmonauts get a goal from Gonchar and from Breland. Shots are 11-9 in favor of Russia. So Darcy, can you play a little bit better like you did in the first few games? And then hopefully our offense could come through here in the second, because we've had some pretty good second periods so far in this playoff matchup. Second period, and it is 3-1. So Dmitry Nabokov makes it 3-0, but Dave Babbage gets us a goal to plus within 2. Shots are 25-20 in favor of Russia. We need to have a big third period here if we want to win this game. Come on, boys. If for some reason we don't tie it up, it doesn't really matter because we are going back home, and we've been pretty good on home ice. So I'm hoping that we could end the series there maybe. And Neil Broughton makes it a 3-2 game. Okay. It's a 1-goal game, power play again, and we don't score. Penalty kill. It's a long penalty kill, and we manage to kill it off. Last little bit, and we tie it up. Nicely done, boys. Trent Klatt. So we are getting some more goals from like that third line, I think it is, and partially the second line. So shots are 37-34 in favor of Russia, but we managed to storm back from a 3-0 game, actually. Yeah, because they were 3-0 halfway through the game. Babbage scores to make it 3-1, and then 2 goals in that third period to make it a 3-3 game. Okay, let's see if we could win this one in overtime, or are we going to be going to a game 5? Come on, boys. Who wants to be that hero? Power play for us. We've been good on the power play so far, and we win it in overtime, and it's Dave Gagne who sends us to the second round with our first sweep in franchise history, technically. Shots are 38-37 in favor of them final, but we managed to win 4-3. So we get the series win. Nice. Okay. So Babbage from Medano and Courtnall, so the first line came through there. Broughton from Gagne and Young, Klatt from Young and Broughton, and Gagne from Courtnall and Medano. Nice. 3 stars in that game. Sergei Gonchar gets first star, Dave Gagne the second star, and Neil Broughton the third. So our veteran kind of guys coming through because Gagne and Broughton are both pretty old. Like I think Gagne is now like 32 or something like that or close. And oh no, that's not good. I'll mention that in a second. But Broughton's like 37 years old, so it's been good to see him come through. So Greg Adams, who we acquired in the offseason in 2 episodes ago, has been injured with a concussion for, I don't know how long that is, maybe a month or maybe a couple weeks. But yeah, he won't be back for a bit, which is not good because that means we're going to have to put in somebody like Stapleton, I think, into the lineup. Yeah, that's not good. Greg Adams had like no points in that first round, but I'm going to give Anton Lundell a shot on the first line. Move Scott Pearson up to the third line. And then who are we going to put in? Yeah, we're going to put in Mike Stapleton. And we're going to go back to here. I don't know if I want... Stapleton could play the power play. Why not? And then here we'll put also Stapleton in. Or wait, is Dave Babbage in that lineup? No, he's... Oh, yeah, he is. Okay. But Dave Babbage is slowly dropping off, so he might retire this year. So hopefully we can win a cup for him. Because I don't know if he won a cup in real life or not. He might have. Where am I looking? Oh, yeah, I'm looking for Stapleton. Oh, yeah, he's a centerman. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so... Yeah, that injury really sucks, but hopefully Stapleton could get us some points. Or hopefully, yeah, because he's out till the 10th. So he's out till probably... He's probably going to miss the entire second round, I would assume, or maybe some of the second round. Let's go to the 24th. Oh, it's already over stop simulation. There you go. So we're going to be going up against the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round. So yeah, he's going to miss the entire second round. So hopefully we can at least get to the conference final so then Greg Adams could return. But we are going up against Chicago in the second round. So this is going to be a pretty tough matchup because they do have some pretty good players. So let's take a look at our player stats still for the first round. Take a look at the updated playoff tree, and then we'll take a look at the lines for the Chicago Blackhawks, just to see how they are set up, because they probably made quite a few trades and stuff like that in the first few years. So Scott Pearson's leading the team in points, which is really weird. 4 points in 4 games. Same with Gagne and Matvichuk. Evason, yeah, we're getting a lot of goals. We have a lot of players that are close to point per game. The only ones that had no points were Greg Adams, who's now out with an injury, Zarley Zalapsky, Mike Craig, Grant Ledyard as well. So, I mean, it was a pretty good first round when mostly everybody on your team puts up at least a point. And then goaltending-wise, let's see Darcy Wackluck's stats. 4-0 with a 9.43 and a 1.73 goals against average. So he's playing pretty good. And I think he's on the last year of his contract. Yeah, he is. So I think he's doing pretty well for that. Hopefully I don't know if I want to re-sign him or not, because we got Nabokov in the AHL. It's either that or we get rid of Andy Moog. Okay, so that is done. Well, actually, I was going to check the playoff tree, goddammit. Let's take a look at that playoff tree, see who moved on in the other rounds. Okay, so the Chicago Blackhawks took out Detroit in 5 games. So Detroit has been eliminated, and they will not pull off the three-peat in this, which is nice. Calgary defeated Vancouver in 5 games to advance to the second round. St. Louis takes out LA in Gretzky in 7 games. As for the Eastern Conference, Pittsburgh takes out Quebec in 6 games, and Buffalo takes out Montreal in 6 games. As for the other 2 games, the Rangers take out the Devils in 6 games, so Martin Brodeur getting eliminated in the first round, and the Philadelphia Flyers taking out Boston in 6 games in the first round. So that is the new playoff matchups. Interesting. Let's take a look at... what was I going to take a look at again? Oh, yeah, the lineup for the Chicago Blackhawks. Goddamn. I'm, like, overtired because it's still, like, not even 9 o'clock in the morning. So, let's take a look at Chicago. So, here is their forward core. So, first line, you got Derek King, who was with the Islanders in the beginning of this. He's a pretty good player. Had a career season almost with Chicago. He's playing with Jeremy Roenick and Tony Amonte, so very good first line. You got a sniper, kind of like a grindery, kind of like power forward kind of guy. And then you also got kind of the same thing, I think. Well, I'm playmaker, okay. Second line, you got Joe Murphy, who's a good sniper, Peter Inachek, a veteran, and Mike Gartner. So a lot of older type of guys on this team, but they're all pretty good. You also got Andrei Tarasenko, and that's Vladimir's... Yeah, Vladimir Tarasenko, right? Yeah, okay. I don't know why I'm blanking out on some of this stuff, but yeah, anyways, Andrei Tarasenko is Vladimir's dad. He was in the Russian league back in the 90s, so that's why he's in this build. You have him with Brent Sutter and Troy Loney. And then fourth line, you had our former player, Pelle Eklund. How did he play this year? In Chicago, 37 points. So that's where he signed. Y'all also have Paul Isabert and Michel Goulet, who's still playing. So a lot of very old guys. As you can see, most of their forward core is in their 30s. Yeah, mostly everybody's in their 30s. So it's a very old team. Hopefully we could somehow like outskate them, even though our team is pretty old as well. And on defense, they have Gary Sutter, 89 overall with 86. Chris Chelios, who's 36. You also have Keith Carney, Steve Smith, Joe Reekie. I don't know why I say Jeff all the time. And Bob Rouse. So another old defensive core as well, because is everybody above 30 on this defensive core? Everybody except for Heath Carney. So yeah, this is a very old team. Like they're probably average age is like 31 or 32, I guess. And then goaltending wise, they got Ed Belfour and Jeff Hackett. So their goaltending combination hasn't changed. As for their depth guys, they have Daryl Shannon, who I think they acquired from the Winnipeg Jets. Yeah, they acquired from Winnipeg or Quebec. Maybe it was one of the two of those. So that's Daryl Shannon. They also have Patrick Poulin and Jeff Shantz. 2 young guys is depth and one kind of middle-aged guy. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of our Dallas Stars franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take on the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round of the playoffs and see if we could get to that conference finals already. And if we do so, we'd be facing either Calgary or St. Louis. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.